It's a new week in the Crew Motorfest, and so we have a new summit. This is the Under Pressure Summit Guide. Let's go! Alright, real quick before I get into the video, shout out to Simgii. Please go subscribe to his channel. He helped a lot with the cuts and racing lines for this summit guide, and just go show him some love. And also check out his summit guide. He shows some of the best driving in the world. Alright, let's get into the cars first. So in the Summit bundle, you're going to be getting the Dodge SRT Viper GTS, which is a street car, and the Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren 722 edition, and that's also a street car. You're going to be using nothing but street cars and one escape vehicle, which should be a hypercar. The additional vehicles that I'm going to recommend are the Porsche Taycan or the Lamborghini Huracan, and the Viper Lightning Edition if you can get it. If you can't get it, then just use the regular Viper that comes in the bundle. But if you have the option to use the Lightning Edition, it is a little bit better. It has a little wider wheelbase, it takes corners a little nicer, and it actually will gutter a little bit better as well. It's a Crew 2 exclusive, but it is purchasable. So if you have the Crew 2, just open it up, go buy it, and transfer it into Motorfest. And then finally, an escape vehicle of your choice. I recommend the Agera R. It is the fastest hypercar in the game, and for that one, you definitely want a full set of Nitrochemist parts with pure and extra pump as your affixes. All right, the keys to this summit, well, there's only one key to this summit, and that is shortcuts. There is a ton of them. If you're one of those people that doesn't like shortcuts, you might as well not even play this summit this week, because every single race has multiple shortcuts. All right, here are the pro settings for those cars, and then we'll get into the events. All right, the first event is called Fast, and it features the Corvette C7 Stingray. There are two cuts in this race. At 37%, you can cut this corner to the left, and at 78%, you can cut to the right and over this hill. Try to line yourself up with the road using the mini map. All right, the next one is called Quick. Now for this one, I use the Porsche Taycan, but the fastest times are in the Huracan. I would suggest using whichever car you feel more comfortable with. The Taycan is definitely more forgiving than the Huracan when it comes to gutter turns. If you miss a gutter, you definitely can make up for it using the acceleration of the Taycan. So maybe for players with lower skill levels, I would say use the Taycan. For me, it worked out better than the Huracan. There are two cuts in this one. At 37%, you can cut left through the trees and directly towards the next checkpoint. When you get to that checkpoint, you'll continue through the next set of trees and straight across the grass. You want to enter the road again to the left of this yellow wall. And then at 57%, cut the corner to the right, but watch out for the building. It does creep up on you a little bit, and I've hit it a couple of times in my runs. All right, the next event is called Rapid. And for this one, we're using the Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren 722. There are four cuts in this one. At 25%, cut to the left across this field. Then at 34%, you're going to do the exact same thing. At 60%, you go to the right of the barrier and head towards the next checkpoint. You'll need to get close enough to the wall to register that you got it though. Then use air NOS to get down the hill and continue straight through the next checkpoint. And finally at 92%, go straight through the arrow signs and up the dirt road, then drop down through the trees onto the final straight to the finish line. Now with this cut, depending on your skills as a driver and what you feel more comfortable with, it could be faster to take the road. However, for me in my testing, the dirt road was the more consistent line. I ran faster times there than I could on the road. And I actually think it really just depends on skill level. If you're a highly skilled player, the road might be your best bet. I think you definitely can go faster there, but it's almost identical and you should just pick the path that feels the most consistent for you. All right, the next event is called Swift, and for this one, I'm recommending the Viper Lightning Edition, but if you don't have it, the Viper GTS. There are 4 cuts on this one. At 20%, cut to the right after this stone wall and use the NOS in the air to keep your speed. Then at 48%, you can cut this corner to keep a straighter and faster line. And at 67%, you'll cut up this hill and jump the rock at the top. Now just make sure you have plenty of NOS to use in the air because you're going to need it to keep your speed up. This is a very difficult cut and it's going to be the most frustrating one that you try in this summit. So just be patient. You'll eventually get it. Just try to line it up with the next checkpoint. And then finally at 94%, you can cut to the left of this tree on this corner. Kind of helps you maintain speed for the final straight. The next event is called Nimble, and you're going to be using the Lightning Edition Viper or the Viper GTS, whichever one you have. And there are 2 cuts in this one. At 28%, you can cut this corner to the left, and then at 73%, you can cut this corner as well. And the last race of the summit is called Prompt. And for this one, you're using the Corvette C7 Stingray. There are 2 cuts in this one. At 48%, you'll head straight to the left of this building and make sure you brake really hard. Then it's a hard right after the building ends. Then at 60%, you can cut through these arrows and wall and through the middle of these buildings, just like you would in a grand race. All right, lastly, let's talk about the feats. These are all escapes, and I recommend a hypercar of your choice, preferably with Nitrochemist with Pure and Extra Pump as your affixes. I use the Agera R. It's the fastest hypercar in the game, and it does very well with these escapes because they're basically all on highways. For all 3 escapes, you'll be starting them in the opposite direction to which you spawn in. And all 3 escapes don't require any path knowledge. Just stay on the highway and avoid as much traffic as you possibly can. If you get frustrated, just take a break and come back to it later. The traffic is an absolute pain in the butt, but you'll get it eventually. Just keep running it. You've got an entire week to do those 3 escapes, so just do it a few times. If it gets frustrating, come back later. All right, here are my final scores. And thank you so much for watching. If you feel like supporting the channel in a huge way, we've just opened memberships and I would love your support. You can become part of the militia. There's all kinds of perks, including custom emojis that you can use in chat during live streams, a 20% off coupon to the Shitbox shirts store, and sneak peeks at all of the upcoming videos, and not to mention private polls with only members involved. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope this helps. I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.